When people hear about our project, Television Commercial for Communism, they think we're being ironic and facetious. But to a certain extent, we're not. Because in a context such as Vietnam, things like these two very extreme, opposite political ideologies are coexisting in a way.
When we approached TBWA to do Television Commercial for Communism, it was completely up to them, whatever they chose to do.
The assignment is pretty broad. There's no mediums dictated. It's a full-on campaign.
And our brief to them was that we were sort of acting as the last 5 remaining communist countries that was approaching a big advertising agency to rebrand the idea of communism.
It was really important for us to work with a global advertising company that does really incredible work for really big clients like Apple and Nissan and Gatorade. For us, it was the convergence of these two very different histories. The commercial, which was the result of capitalism and advertising, and the history of communism. And for us, this project is where they both meet.
So when we approached TBWA, it was sort of up to them to choose what format they wanted to use. And they ultimately chose the idea of this girl who was traversing through the world, and she would approach different groups of people. And in having these interactions with people, they exchanged smiles. And so she would take these smiles as sort of like these objects, these sort of currency, and sort of keep them. And then as she traveled around throughout the day, she had this collection of smiles. And at the end of the day, there was a group of people hanging out and singing music, and it was a very ideal sunset scene. And she starts distributing her smiles, and everybody's enjoying this sort of sharing of the smile. And they all come together to form the new flag of communism, which are these colored smiles. And the treatment was, it was a paper cutout world, so everything was in white, and the only thing that was in color were these smiles.
And then we were able to work with another production company in Vietnam to kind of develop further the logo and the brand for the new communism. So Rice Creative is another kind of production company. They do graphic design and conceptual design for branding and identity creation. And they took the idea from TBWA and they kind of developed it. And what they were interested in was creating a logo that was kind of like the new red.
So they picked a red that was slightly friendlier and not as bright and harsh, like a RGB red. But they chose like a really kind of cooler red, and then it had this gradient tone that was really nice.
Yeah. And they also kind of developed these smiles into like a circular form, something that was even more open and welcoming and less kind of referencing the star that the original smiles were referencing.
It was really amazing working with those guys because they really took the project seriously, and everybody did actually. I mean, they produced a brand Bible for communism. So there's multiple layers in the production of the project. Sort of starts with TBWA, it evolves with TBWA and another agency into this sort of logo design and treatment, and then into a production company and a director who ultimately produces the commercial. So ultimately the commercial took this form of real actors that were in this sort of frozen state, and it was a one-take commercial with this actress that was playing the girl in the commercial, and she's sort of running around and filling all these spots. It was a really fun commercial to see, but it was very different than the TBWA version of the animation. And so we get a final commercial that's even different than our expectations again. So our expectations are sort of always being shifted and changed. And it was really interesting. I just love to see it and be a part of it.